Oh man, we had a good group. You talk about Dylan G, John Neese, David Wright, Duda. I mean, oh man, the Verano there in Port St. Lucie, man, we all had houses and we would just ride
I
golf
remember
carts. And
that. Yeah.
yeah, well, we were all over that place.
I
I'm
used to hang out in Chili's, Bobby. I had a table in Chili's.
yeah, Jay Horowitz table.
The Jay Harvey table at Chili's. But
Yeah, so
yeah,
we had a lot of fun in our off seasons, and it carried over into the season. And I truly believe that kind of environment is what pushed that 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018 seasons into what they became, and um, the relationships that we had off the field is what drove that.
Jay Horowitz with amazing conversations with my old friend Bobby Parnell. Bobby, thanks for joining.
Jay, I'm excited to be here. I saw that phone call from you, and I got
I'm glad you
excited.
didn't hang up, right?
No, heck no, man. I was racing to answer it. I was excited to talk to you.
But Bob, you know what? Looking over, he said, you know the crazy thing for me, I didn't know you pitched with the Mets for 8 years. You were a middle reliever, a closer, a starter for 8 games. I mean, from 08 to 15, it's a long time.
It was, yeah. It was a good ride. I had some amazing memories, some amazing experiences, and no regrets. I enjoyed every bit of it. I think that was, as far as baseball career, that was probably the highlight of my time. I hated leaving the Mets when I did. I felt like I still had some unfinished business, but like you said, 8 years is a long time, and to be able to do that for as long as I did, I was
And
fortunate.
and it was in '09. Was that the game when John Neese collapsed on the mound, and you took a spot in the rotation right after that?
Yeah, I do believe what
Yeah,
knee or something
yeah, and he
after.
came down
Yeah,
and you had a career. You had like 7 innings against the Cubs that year, but you did everything. For me, looking back, probably one of the most frustrating things got to be 2013. Become the closer, get 22 saves. I think you had a disc at the end of that year, right? And then first game of the 14th season, you hurt your arm, and next you know it's Tommy John surgery.
yeah, yeah. When you talk about the length of time that I played, it was a lot of hard work to get where I was. I wasn't refined by no means when I came into the league, and still had a lot of work to do, and I was fortunate to have great teammates and great coaches that helped me along the way. And like you said, get to 2013 and felt like I was on top of my game, the best I've ever pitched, and
The
come
first
up with.
game.
Yeah, well, no, was that 2013 had the neck injury.
Yeah, but 2014 was the first
20,
game when
2014,
you pitched opening day,
yeah,
and
blew
then
up my elbow.
you had
Yeah,
Tommy John, and you're out the rest of the year.
yeah, yep. Had the neck injury and rehabbed it, and when you're rehabbing, you're stuck down in Florida, and your teammates are playing. All you're thinking about is getting back. So, did everything I could to get back, and then come in 14, and just you know arm wasn't ready or something. Mentally, I was there, but arm just let go that first game, and uh, you know,
Bobby, no offense to you, but the years you were with the Mets until the last year at 15, we didn't have any winning teams. We didn't. You were always on losing teams, and your ERA was remarkable, but 2.37, very credible ERA. But unfortunately, you came back in 15, which was a World Series year, and I guess the arm didn't have enough strength. I mean, what happened? I mean, you came back in June,
yeah,
I think, that year.
yeah. It just it's a young man's game. It's a young man's game, and when I think I was 30 years old, which doesn't sound old, and it doesn't feel old now. I'm getting to 40 now, but at 30 years old, you're playing against 20-year-old, 21 years old, and it's tough. Your body doesn't bounce back like it did when you were younger. So I didn't have huge injuries when I was younger, and they didn't happen until I was 30. So just trying to bounce back, I think, was the biggest thing. I felt like I could come in and I could perform, um, at spurts, is just being consistent. And the name of the game is consistency. And I couldn't put the effort that I wanted to day in and day out and be on top of my game day in and day out like I could when I was younger.
I mean, it had to be 15 had to be especially frustrating. The first winning season, we get to the
Hmm.
World Series, and
Oh yeah.
unfortunately, injuries prevented you from participating.
Oh yeah, roller coaster of emotions. I was glad to see my teammates performing well and playing well and winning and their hard work coming to light. And I'm sitting back cheering for them, but in the background I'm also fighting to do the things that I need to do to get back. Um, and like I
Bobby,
said,
in
it's
your
it's
time,
it was a rough ride.
yeah, Bobby, in your time with the Mets, you saw a lot of the younger pitchers coming to fruition. You got a save in Matt Harvey's first game in 2012 out in Arizona,
Mhm.
and then you were around for most of deGrom in 15 and Noah,
Mhm.
right? Matt's in that crew.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I saw them playing in the minor league ball.
right.
Coming to spring training their first year, and seeing the flashes of what they were going to be very young. I mean, we were talking about that the whole time, knowing that they were right behind us and the things that we had coming as a team. So
You know what the crazy part of that? I think Matt's, deGrom, Syndergaard, Harvey, and Wheeler only went through the rotation once, one time. All the times they were the Mets, they never were able to get five guys healthy at one
oh
time.
really?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's exactly that's the
Yep.
crazy part. But what do you remember about Santana's no hitter in 2012?
Uh, the after clubhouse is what I remember. I mean, I know I was warming up the pitch down there in the bullpen, so I was all business the whole game, but as soon as it happened, running onto the field and going out there celebrating, uh, what an awesome experience. It's something that you don't get to experience a whole lot. And to see the enjoyment that he had, that the team had, that the city had. And like we talked about, we didn't have a whole lot of winning seasons or a ton of highlights, but to be able to be part of that is pretty special.
Bobby, what do you remember about your pitch would in shape for a little bit in September
Mhm.
of '08? I remember coming back from spring training that year. We got back late, and Jeff gave us a walk through a city field. You
Mhm.
didn't pitch in the opening game, but you pitched in the opening series, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
What do you remember about your first time you looked at City Field?
Yeah, that whole spring training was a whirlwind for me because I got to pitch in Shea the year before, and then come into spring training, make the team out of spring training, and that first flight to City Field, and be able to walk around, go out to the bullpen, and just see the lights and see the brand new stadium. You can tell that a lot of thought and work had gone into it, and a lot of memories were getting ready to be made uh, at City Field. So, um, there's you get very few opportunities to have first, right? And to be the first to walk into a field like that, knowing that you were going to get ready to play there is pretty spectacular. And I think what Pelfrey pitched the first game there.
Yeah, he gave up a home run to the first batter, I think.
Yep, sure
I
did.
was old
Yeah,
Pelf.
yeah, old Pelfrey, yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, to see where it was day one and all the stuff that they've done
yeah,
to it to improve on it
yeah.
and move
It's a
forward.
nice ballpark. A
It
lot of
is,
seats in
man.
fair
It's
territory.
it's very
Yeah.
nice. Yep.
Bobby, one of the main topics here is pitching velocity. Is velocity, and
Mhm.
back in the day, 10 and 11, really, you were the first guy who really was connected to velocity. You threw three pitches and one at about over 100 miles an hour to Miguel Cabrera with the Tigers. And I looked at a list. You're still eighth on the list since 2008 of pitchers who have thrown more than two pitches over 102 miles an hour. What do you think of all the stuff now? Everybody's velocity, velocity, velocity. A lot of guys are getting hurt. Cole and deGrom and a lot of guys. Is there a connection with you, velocity, and people getting hurt?
I I don't know. I've never I've never been the stat guy, right? I've always just showed up and threw the ball hard because that's what I could
But you
do.
were really what you could read. I remember we were in Boston one night, and I think Frankie was hurt, you came into close, maybe with the eighth inning or whatever, and you threw a pitch at 100 miles an hour, and the whole world was on it. It was the first time there was so much notice. The pitch is thrown over 100. Now it's commonplace now.
Yeah, it is commonplace, and I couldn't tell you why or what the difference is or any of that. My thing growing up is I never knew where the ball was going, but I could throw it over the fence at any time. So when I got on the mound, I just let it go. But like I said at the beginning, I mean, there was coaches there was teammates there that helped me refine what I needed to be as a pitcher and direct me and get better and got me in the strike zone basically throwing hard. And I'd always say that a hard pitch didn't count if it wasn't in the strike zone. So I kept challenging myself, and my teammates challenged me, and my coaches challenged me. So I couldn't tell you what the difference is. I know there's arm programs out there that a lot of people believe in, but that was after my time. Workouts I feel like have gotten more involved. So I don't know if people are getting stronger but injuries happen. Injuries are part of the game, and you go out there and you give it everything you have as much as you can, because if you hold back, there's a chance you might not make it where you're trying to go. So you got to give it everything you have and put your effort into it.
So
So
in your mind, there was no connection between your Tommy John and how hard you threw. It just happened. It happened.
no, Jay, I'll be honest with you. In was it 13? Had the neck surgery,
Right.
and that to me has been my biggest impact on my day to day, and more impact on baseball than anything. It's something where if I sleep wrong, I'm waking up and I'm done for the day, just miserable. But so I have to make sure that I'm exercising and doing everything I need to do to make sure my neck doesn't bother me. The Tommy John, it was a tough injury, but really and truly, my last pitch as a minor league, the day before I retired, was 97 miles an hour. Uh,
That's too bad.
yeah, so I could still throw hard. It was just being able to wake up the next day after pitching and playing, and minor league ball, you're riding the bus for 8 hours and waking up stiff no matter what age you are and if you've had surgeries or not. So the neck stuff really is what slowed me down more than the Tommy John.
You're in your time with the Mets. You averaged 66 games a year.
Hmm.
When you were healthy, and the latter years you up to 14 and got less, but that's a pretty good workload. Got over 71 year, and Chapman's thrown over 100 miles an hour, close to 300 times now.
Yeah.
And that's crazy, isn't it? I mean, and back when he first started, it was kind of an anomaly. Bobby, tell me how your life has changed. Two twin daughters born in 2016. Was it
Yep.
Ava and
Ava,
Caroline? No,
yep. Ava and Caroline, 8 years old now, twin girls. So I went from the baseball field to the softball field, and if I'm not at a softball field with my kids, I'm usually at the in-laws farm with horses or something else, or fishing with one of them. They're complete opposites. One loves to fish, and one loves to ride horses, and one loves to play softball. So they're all over the place. So from the baseball field to the softball field, and me personally, I've got into I was always into it, but first responder stuff. My dad's fire
yeah, I
chief.
want to talk about that. Don't let me
Mhm.
forget. Yeah,
Yeah, my dad's fire chief here. So when I got back, I was kind of not knowing what to do with myself and my time. So got an opportunity to get in with the rescue squad here locally and do some what we call missing person searches. Is just dementia patients, Alzheimer's patients walk out, and we go and try to corral them back and get them back. And so that kind of evolved. So now I'm running pin in wrecks and cutting people out of cars and going off of cliffs looking
good for
for.
you.
Yeah,
Good
so
for you.
yeah, get the adrenaline rush still, but I think the biggest thing for me with that is I went from a clubhouse environment with buddies and everything else that you could sit there and spend the days with to sitting at the house, and that's what I missed the most. And the fire department and the rescue squad and everything else kind of gives me that.
And your brother was a volunteer fireman, right?
Yeah, he's actually full time now in Charlotte Fire, down in
Yeah.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Bobby,
So
what I remember about you, I was, the Mets, the team were always involved in 9/11 stuff, and anytime we did stuff with Tuesday's Children or anybody related. You always right at the head of the line, volunteering to do stuff, and it's hard to believe in a couple of years we'd have come up to the 25th anniversary of 9/11. That's crazy. I
Yeah.
can remember what happened yesterday, but you were always a great guy, right up in the center, volunteering, meeting with the kids who lost a parent on 9/11, and I really makes me happy to see what you're doing now, continuing that kind of thing.
I appreciate that, Jay. You always want to be a servant to your community, and I feel like that's what a lot of people, they have that calling and want to do it, and that's kind of the direction I want. I want to be able to serve my community and give back.
It's good for you. I remember you were a big dog person too, right, Bobby?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Still am. I got 4 at the house right now.
You got 4. What kind of dogs are they?
So you're talking about Abby. Abby's
Yes.
still kicking around, still running the roost, hanging out at the house. I'm sure she misses New York greatly, but she's enjoying time at the lake right now and goes swimming here and there and still kicking around. So, and then I got some labs that boo around with me and hang out and go hunt and ride around and everything else. So.
Yeah, I remember you we were always working with the North Shore Animal League, right? That's where you got
Mhm.
Abby from.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Bobby, you still follow the baseball when you're on TV? You watch, or it's hard to keep in touch? Or
Yeah, so after I got done, it wasn't really follow a team, it was follow teammates, right? And that's kind of, I don't know, there's probably 1 or 2 still playing that I've played with and got to be real good friends with. So if I see them on TV or if I see somebody I know on TV, obviously I'll stop and watch. But
who were you especially close with, Bobby?
oh man, we had a good group. You talk about Dylan G, John Neese, David Wright, Duda. I mean, oh man, the Verano there in Port St. Lucie, man, we all had houses and we would just ride golf
I remember
carts. And,
that. Yeah,
yeah, well, we were all over that place.
I
I'm,
used to hang out in Chili's, Bobby. I had a table in Chili's.
yeah, yeah, Jay Horowitz table.
The Jay Harvey table in Chili's. But
Yeah, so
those who
we had a lot of fun in our off seasons, and it carried over into the season. And I truly believe that kind of environment is what pushed that 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018 seasons into what they became, and
yeah.
the relationships that we had off the field is what drove that. And we had
Yeah, it's crazy. You always think what would have happened. It's funny. The last 2 World Series against the Yankees in 2000, we lost the first game in extra innings and lost. And the Kansas City in 15, we
Mhm.
lost the first game in extra innings and lost.
Yeah.
It was it really was an enjoyable season. 15, we get Cespedes and a guy like Kelly Johnson. People forget about. It was a
Oh
big
yeah.
help to us. And Uribe was a good guy around in the clubhouse.
Yep.
It was, and we shocked the world. We really walked through the postseason until we, got to the Kansas City and couldn't recover from the first game loss. I'll always remember you talking about Matt Harvey's game. Were you did you get to the World Series out here, Bobby, or watch it from home?
No, I watched it from the house.
I just remember how excited and electric City Field was. The 8th inning of Game 5, winning 2-0. Matt's got Kansas City out of his hands, and boom, 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 losing 12 innings. That was
Mhm.
I was wondering what would happen. We had won that. It was a good group of guys,
That's right.
and but Bobby, your health is good, your family's good, and everything.
All good. Yeah. I mean, we're just trucking along and enjoying life and watching the kids grow.
Well, listen, I wanted to thank you for coming on. And listen, have you ever bring the family to New York? You want to show the girls, City Field where you started? You have my number. Give me a call. I hope to see you someday, and I appreciate the time. We'll let you know when the thing drops so you can listen to it.
Jay, I sure appreciate it. Don't hesitate to call me if you ever need
I
anything. If
appreciate
I
it.
can ever help
Be
you.
healthy, Bobby, and thanks
Yes,
for your
sir.
time.